Have you ever really stopped to think about what's going on inside a language exam? Like, what are they really testing? Well, today, we're going to deconstruct one single sentence from a test prompt to see just how deep the rabbit hole goes. Let's dive in.
So, here it is. This is the sentence. It's from an IELTS listening test prompt. And, at first glance, it seems pretty straightforward, right? It's just an instruction for a test creator. But what if this one sentence is actually a doorway to a much, much bigger idea? And that right there is the big question for us today. What is a test like this truly trying to measure? Because I'll tell you, it's not just about knowing English words. It's about understanding complex ideas, decoding information on the fly, and really engaging with the topics that define our world. So let's break it down. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about the subject matter. The choice of topics here is absolutely not random. It is our first major clue about what this test is really all about. So you've got pollution, climate change, recycling, conservation efforts. Why these four? Well, think about it for a second. These aren't just vocabulary words you can memorize from a flashcard. No, these are massive, ongoing global conversations. By picking these specific topics, the test is sending a clear signal. This is about more than just your vocabulary list. And that's the key, right? To actually understand a conversation about, say, conservation efforts, you need a lot more than the dictionary definition of conservation. You've got to grasp the concepts, you've got to follow the arguments, and you need to see how all these different ideas connect to each other. The test is all about comprehension, not just memorization. So this naturally brings us to the main skill being tested. We're talking about a listening test, but what does listening even mean in this context? Is it just about sound waves hitting your ears, or is it something deeper? This comparison breaks it down perfectly. On the left, you have hearing. That's passive. It's automatic. Your ears are just picking up noise. But on the right, you have active listening, and that is a full-on mental workout. It's the difference between hearing traffic outside your window and actually listening to the lyrics of a song to figure out what the artist is trying to say. One is just noise, the other is about finding meaning. And this is exactly what the test is looking for. Can you follow a really complex argument about climate change? Can you hear the subtle points, the nuance in a debate about recycling? Can you understand what's being said between the lines? That's what active listening is, and you need it for any kind of real-world communication. Okay, so let's put ourselves in the test maker's shoes for a second. If you were the one creating this thing, how would you even do it? How do you rate questions that can actually measure that deeper level of understanding and not just basic hearing? Well, you'd have to go through a process kind of like this. First, you'd find a real piece of audio, maybe a clip from a lecture or a bit from a news report. Then you'd dissect it, looking for the key ideas and arguments. And finally, you'd write two different kinds of questions. Some would be simple detail questions, what year did she mention? But the important ones would test for real understanding, like, what was the speaker's main point here? Exactly. That's the whole philosophy in a nutshell. A really well-designed test isn't just about recall. It's about seeing if you can process information, connect the dots, and truly understand the ideas being presented, not just parrot back the words you heard. So when you start putting all these pieces together, the choice of topics, the focus on active listening, the goal of measuring deep comprehension, a much bigger picture starts to come into focus. This was never just about passing an English exam. And this quote really just hits the nail on the head. In the world we live in today, being able to follow a conversation about climate change isn't just a language skill. It's a critical life skill. It's about being an informed, engaged citizen of the world, no matter what language you speak. So what's the big takeaway from all this? That simple test prompt was never really about just words. It's a measure of something way more important, your ability to engage with the world. True language proficiency isn't just about grammar and vocabulary. It's about being literate in the global conversations that are shaping our future. So we'll leave you with this final thought. Forget about tests and scores for a moment. What this all really comes down to is our ability to listen, to understand, and to engage. So ask yourself, what are the most important conversations happening in the world right now? And do you have the skills to not just hear them, but to truly listen?